Gentlemen, we're going to throw on the Monday recap from all of Week 12's action this week, as well as I'm going to go ahead and get to the preview for next week. I'm forecasting a busy week for myself here at Yorktown High School. Thank you for paying your taxes. So I thought this might be the best day and my only opportunity to get your preview on before the Thursday night game. That being said, taking a look at these matchups from Week 12 to just kind of go and take a look at what happened, key players, key injuries, certain situations that you might want to be aware of. Notice it was a nice week for me. I was able to win by 14 yards and keep my playoff hopes alive, just in case those of you who are wondering who's still alive for a playoff spot. It's really going to come down to 8 teams playing for 6 spots. There are 8 teams who will be alive and playing for a spot in the playoffs in Week 13. My team was able to win by 14 yards. Big win for me, especially to get a win with a somewhat modest point total, led by Adrian Peterson, who just is a freak of nature. Also, Chris Ivory, a big touchdown run late, really when the game was over. If you haven't seen Chris Ivory's touchdown, give it a YouTube or a Google. Quite disgusting. Luke's team, since changing his team name to Team Suck D, I believe he has now won 5 in a row. But really a hot team. He's going to be 6-6. Certainly will have a chance to make the playoffs next week, and we'll take a look at that. But if Luke were to get to 7-6, he would have a very good chance to make the playoffs due to his points for being pretty impressive. Tyler is a team that he's got to be a little bit worried. Takes another loss to the butt buddies here. Matthew Stafford with a 45 burger. Likes his turkey, and really Calvin Johnson goes off on Thanksgiving every year. So somewhat of a surprise to Stafford with that many points. Calvin, he's going to kill on Thanksgiving every year. Another man who's not affected by tryptophan, the depressing agents in turkey. But Tyler next week also plays Luke, so that potentially could be a bit of a play-in game. Tyler's team, I do not believe, is one that will get in with a loss at 7-6 due to some of the other teams with more points. But Tyler's been a little unlucky with some of his running backs and some odd situations. But Matt Stafford with almost half of the Butt Buddies points. Here we have Shake and Bake falling. His season is now over, and I know it's a sad day for Jesse. He, like me, lives for fantasy football, and just getting blown out in the last game. For all intents and purposes, Jesse's season is done. Gray, just gets. I think he got 90 almost from Derek Carr, Sammy Watkins, and LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy doesn't surprise us as much. Certainly the other ones do. Actually, pardon me. It was C.J. Anderson. C.J. Anderson, Sammy Watkins, and Derek Carr go for 90. It's a lot of points. And again, I think this is the best week the Grays had. We've kind of discussed all year. He has good players. They just haven't been producing, and they've been hurt. Better luck next year, Jesse. At least you still have Beckham. Oh, wait. Sorry. It's going to low. Below the belt blow there. Ram. We have Ram, and it's Des for 6. Brent was able to clinch not only a playoff spot, but he, unless something very strange happens, which I wrote down, Jason's team would have to outscore Brent's next week by, I believe, 180 for Brent not to have the 1 seed. So, Brent, congratulations. Great year. You are going to have a bye, which means you will get some money, even if you lose your first game. Mighty Midgets Lollipop Guild. Lollipop Guild gets another big win. Going to move to 8-4 and secures another spot in the playoffs. As of this moment, unless my math is incorrect, and I highly doubt that, the only 2 teams that have guaranteed playoff spots are Lollipop Guild and it's Des for 6. So congratulations, those 2 groups. Matchups next week. Brent's team will play Adam Brandt in what could be a big game for Adam. If he would like to get in the playoffs, he'll need to win that one and have some other chips maybe fall his way. And then also next week, Lollipop Guild plays Juice Me Up. And it's a playing game for Juice Me Up. I have to win. We'll get back to that later in the preview. But Taking a look at next week's slate in week 13. And again, as this is coming up, I just want to remind you because I always like to plug our sponsor, Trampus Whalen. Lawyer works, those of you who are not familiar, he works in Noblesville. He practices law. He fights the crime of the injustices forced on humanity. So if you need a divorce or you're interested in committing homicides and getting away with it, you want to file a lawsuit on a condom company for not working, and you have that untimely child. Various things. Trampus can help you if you're in trouble, want to get out of trouble, or want to get into trouble. Trampus Whalen, somebody to keep in mind is his law practice in Noblesville. In a bail, give Trampus a call. So there's our plug for our sponsor. Trampus does pay for our show, so thank you. He's one half of the legendary team, as they say. NA. I'm going to take a look from bottom to top here. Let's take a look at next week's preview. It's Des for 6 against the Mighty Midgets. Again, two teams. Brent has already clinched. Resting of starters probably will not happen in fantasy football, Brent. But his team has clinched a bye in the 1 seed, pretty much. Adam Brandt is now 6-6, and he will need a win and a couple teams to lose for Adam to make the playoffs. I'm projecting, should he win this game, he will need a couple teams to lose next week, and there are a lot of spots where teams can be knocked off, but this is just a spot for Brent where he's certainly concerned with the health of his team going into the playoffs. This is a team that's, it could be 10-3 in the regular season if it wins this match, but a lot of his guys are slowing down. AJ Green kind of got back in the right direction this week, but Brent's team's banged up, and frankly, it's not clicking right now. We'll see how that impacts him. His guys will have a week to rest, and then week 15 is where his men will battle in the playoffs. From now until then, Brent can chill. His team is advancing, and you have to like him in this matchup. Adam Brandt is he's had so many unlucky breaks this season for a team that at one point was just loaded, especially at the top with Charles and Bell. He can't catch a break this year. This is not the one we want to do next. Take a look at Luckbox and NA. This, I believe, let me go ahead and take a look. NA is 7-5 currently, and Luckbox is also 7-5. This amounts to, for Adam Foster, this amounts to a play-in game for him. In other words, he has to win to get in the playoffs. Pretty much, he's sitting at 1,160 points, so kind of middle of the pack there. But this game is both these teams control their destinies. Should NA win this matchup, they would have an opportunity to have the number 2 seed, which is also a bye, should Jason Stuffel's Lollipop Guild team lose. A lot on the line in this one, and this is what makes Week 13 in fantasy great. Taking a look at these matchups, I do not anticipate that Team NA will play Brian Hoyer at quarterback, and they will opt for, I forget who the heck they have, somebody else. Take a look, I guess. Anyway, so who do we like in this matchup? Taking a look at it at the top, Phil Rivers, tough matchup with Denver on the horizon at home. You don't love that for Luckbox. This is a pretty fantasy-friendly opportunity here for Darren McFadden, a good spot. And then Jeremy Langford, if they would commit to him, the problem that Adam is facing is some of his running backs, Chris Johnson and Jeremy Langford, namely, are injured / no longer given the opportunity. Because of that, I think you have to lean toward NA. And I realize these teams aren't set in stone. They will make roster changes and put in some new players. I like NA from top to bottom as far as some really consistently producing players. Also some players who've really established a really nice floor for Team NA. So I think I would go with the more consistent option here and take the players I know what I'm getting out of. Tough break for Luckbox, losing this week by 14 yards, and then he's just kind of banged up at the wrong time of year. So I would project that Trampus and Mark will make the playoffs. Congratulations there, guys. Simply simple victory against Team Suck D. This is huge. This is a win and you're in game, in my opinion, for both of these teams, and we'll get back to that later. You look at it at the top, and immediately you see Tom Brady at home against Philly, and Tom Brady's receivers are so decimated. Gronk went down, but it just doesn't matter, and they're at home against a Philadelphia team that's just getting lit up through the air. Just getting crushed in the air, and I don't know statistically where they are on the season, but what I do know is they're not very good. So there you go. You see that they have been feasted on by Matt Stafford and the great other options of Tampa Bay. Come on now, right? Tom Brady's going to have a field day, and because of that, I'm going to lean with Team Suck D winning this matchup. Tyler is unfortunately, as we've kind of discussed, dealing with some injuries and some odd situations. Todd Gurley slowed down. I like Luke's team to make it to 7-6 and get in the playoffs. We'll go over these projected playoff teams, but I do think that Luke gets in at 7-6. Here's a matchup that it doesn't really matter. These guys are playing for an opportunity to compete in the Toilet Bowl, which is an opportunity everybody gets. So that's not really worth noting there. As far as who wins, whatever. I'll go with the Butt Buddies because Jesse likes it when I don't pick him. But again, Jesse, he went forward. He made a big trade, similar to how some of us approach it. We want to win every year, and Jesse went forward, and sometimes he missed. He just gave up 125 points to Gray this week. That was tough for him. Better luck next year to the three of you. I love each of you dearly. Here we have 50 Shades of Clay at Ram. And again, this is a match that doesn't really matter. Chris lost this week, so we have 2-12 against 5-7. And projection-wise, I actually like 50 Shades. I like the way his team is going. I think had some of his players seen opportunities and health early in the year, that 50 Shades of Clay, we know Gray is a manager who does a nice job. I like him in this matchup to really build some momentum going into that Toilet Bowl, which that first pick, second pick, those can really be game changers in the draft. And then lastly, I believe this is lastly. I don't think I skipped anyone. So let me check here. I like NA. I like Suck D. I also like the Butt Buddies. We covered that. I like 50 Shades to continue to win, and I think I picked Dez for 6. And here's the matchup that my team, my men, Antonio Brown has waited. He's waited for this moment. Last year, flashback to Week 13, all I see in my head, Trey Mason scoring touchdowns, Torrey Smith scoring touchdowns, and Jason's team knocked mine out of the playoffs. Jason did not have a good team last year, knocked me out of the playoffs, and this has been a moment that my men, led by Antonio Brown, who was my leader last year, continues to lead by example, the way he carries himself, the way he dances. My men have waited for this opportunity. They have waited nearly 365 days. And led by Adrian Peterson and Chris Ivory and Antonio Brown, 3 players I drafted or kept early, I have a united team. They love playing. Okay, when your guys are out partying, my guys are out running routes. That type of ability. And we're going up against Lollipop Guild, a pure gentleman, someone who is a great human being. He's a good husband. He's going to be a great father. But let's analyze this. Taking a look, and I think this will probably be close to how we play it, would be my guess. I don't know how you can play Matt Ryan if you're Jason. You just look at it and you see one team just full of desire, drive, competitive fury. Then you see Jason's dog shit team. That's why the lock of the week. Juicing for Steve Smith makes it in the playoffs. Projected playoff teams, we have, I think, Brent and Team NA get a bye. Jason makes the playoffs as the 3rd seed. The 4th seed, Juice Me Up. The 5th seed, Luke. The 6th seed, Luckbox. Exit music today because the white population said I only play hippie hop. We have Rascal Flats and Rewind. Rewind to when your team was relevant, Jesse. Go back to that draft. Opportunities that could have been. Opportunities lost. Tragedies. And
Enjoy.
Wish I could reach up and reset that sun.